All right, Frankie Familia. Here we are back on FSPN, the Frankie from Flatbush show. I'm Frankie from Flatbush. This is the coffee right here. Well, week one is in the books. All the games that done been played, and we lost 34-32 in a heartbreaking fashion. Unfortunately, but what we need to do is we need to take a look every week at the power rankings because, after all, luck is involved in these games. Some teams are fraudulent but happen to have a lot of wins, and other teams are surprisingly better than their record would lead you to believe. And so every week we'll take a look at these power rankings, and they can also help you to anticipate what may happen in the upcoming week. Now, early in the season, these power rankings are going to be a little shaky because there's not enough data in the model. But we'll go over what the model is. Yes, we have a model. Not that kind of model. And show you where the Jets stand after all. But before we do that, we're going to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. We think we offer unique content here on FSPN, different than everybody else. And so if you agree, please just subscribe. It's free. Hit that little subscribe button down there, down below, and give the video a thumbs up. Why not? Milk thumbs it all day long. And if you want to go a little bit extra and support on the monetary side, join the channel as a channel member. You get exclusive items that nobody else gets other than the channel members. All right, that being said, let's share the screen and see what we're talking about as far as power rankings are concerned. Well, here we go. Oh, now the logo's in the way. Sometimes you got to take your logo down. That's just how it works. So here we see where we are at. The Washington Commanders are number one. So a low score, you see the data on the left and visualization on the right. Okay, visualized. And the lower the score, the better. What we're doing in terms of this model is we're using a Delphi method, which means you take multiple sources of information, average them out, and then see where you are. So the sources of information are PFF, ESPN, FPI. The FPI from ESPN is itself a Delphi method because it takes information from 80 different people. It's people being used to say what their feelings are about the teams. Then we have some analytics. We have DVOA. We have EPA. We also have point differential. That's just straight point differential. Then we average those 5 things out, and the lower your score is, the better, obviously. If you were first in all of them, you would have a 1 in the average column here. So you want to lower is better. That's why in the visualization you see these things. These are the categories, and you want them short and tight. You don't want them looking like the Giants down here. So number one after week one was the Washington Commanders. Then you see the Packers, Colts, and so forth. Now the Jets right here in red, we're 13th. So that's not too shabby. Now keep in mind, the game didn't go as we wanted. We lost, and that's terrible. And there were some miscues. It was frustrating. But at the same time, it was week one of a new regime with a new quarterback and a first-time head coach and a first-time offensive coordinator and a first-time a lot of things. Rookies all over the place. All of our drafted rookies were active and played some snaps. So a lot of youth running around there and a new first-time head coach, first-time OC, and a quarterback in a new system once again for Justin Fields. All that considered, that's not too shabby. I mean, we came up 13th in the whole league. I mean, look at the Giants. The Giants have, an experienced quarterback. Okay, first year with them, but I mean, Brian Daboll is supposed to be some sort of offensive genius. I'm still waiting to see that, other than when Josh Allen went off, which is really because of Josh Allen. Yeah, Brian Daboll gets credit for Josh Allen, and really, he shouldn't. I mean, he should get some credit, I guess, but it's mostly Josh Allen who gets the credit for that. But look at the Giants. They're all the way at the bottom. Look at the Dolphins. They've had their head coach in place for several years and the quarterback, and they have Tyreek and Waddle and all those people. And they're down here. The Panthers, everybody said, oh, look out for the Panthers. Bryce Young got his swagger back last year, and Canales and Davey Cannolis and this one and that. They're all the way down here. And the Titans, oh, look out for Cam Ward. He's got it. Now, this it's week one. It may work out, but I'm just saying some of these teams had a much better narrative coming into the season. What about the Patriots? A lot of people had the Patriots making a playoff run, and they might still, again. But I'm just showing you these things because, nobody was talking about the Jets being 13th best. Now, again, it's just 1 week. We understand that, and we have to sustain, and we have to see what happens. And that's why we're going to track it. That's why you see all these tabs down here. We're going to track every single week, and we'll see how they change, and we'll have different data points. But for 1 week, pretty good. Yeah, we lost, but still pretty good. I mean, what more could you really expect? I mean, some of these teams had much better situations. I mean, according to this, we're better than the Bills. Now, do I think we're better than the Bills? No, of course not. Of course not. But I mean, the Bills you saw what happened with the Bills. They had an incredible game against an incredible opponent. It was like It was like an AFC championship game, a championship bout. Went all the way down to the wire. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, incredible. Derrick Henry, and all these people. So when you have to factor in the competition. That's why you need 3 or 4 games for this to be really meaningful. But still, it's useful. And this is week 1, but you got to start somewhere, right? But a lot of people, look at the Steelers. They played us, and they're down here at 19th. The Steelers, to be honest with you, after rewatching that game, to be honest with you, the Steelers didn't really win it as much as we lost it. To be honest. And that's not copium. That's the truth, man. And it's so frustrating. We had so many. This happened last year too. So many games we could have won, and we don't win them. I don't know what it is. Must be the Namath curse. But anyway, so the Jets are here, 13th overall. The Bills, 14th. I would suspect the Bills will be climbing. Some of these teams are going to fall. The Jaguars are not going to stay 5th in the league. No way. The Eagles and Ravens will move up. The Raiders will probably fall. The Raiders played the Patriots. The 49ers played the Seahawks in a very sloppy, weird kind of game. They got a lot of injuries. They'll probably fall. The Cardinals are an interesting team. They should be a playoff team this year, but they'll be worth watching because it's time for Jonathan Gannon to go. To win. You know what I mean? Like, he's had his time to set everything up. Well, let's go, buddy. Let's go. Time to get in the playoffs now. Bengals are always interesting. But you see who's pulling up the rear. I mean, it could be a very interesting season for the Miami Dolphins. If this continues, are they going to trade Tyreek Hill, for example? If they do, where does he go? That could change the whole complexion of the NFL. The Panthers, can they improve? The Titans, can Cam Ward play better? Some of his receivers are dropping passes, eating too many dropsicles. And you wonder what the hell's going on with these people, because it was Calvin Ridley and this one and that one. But, rookie quarterback, so they got a few years to iron that out. The Patriots, what can they do with Drake May and Josh McDaniels, that marriage, so forth and so on. The Lions, you figure they're going to be moving up, but the Lions are interesting because they lost Ben Johnson, they lost Aaron Glenn, and who do they replace them with? And are those people going to be good enough? And then they have some injuries on top of it, so we'll have to see. Look at the Chiefs all the way down here, 22nd. Are they falling off? Is Mahomes falling off in any way, shape, or form? We'll have to keep an eye on it. But this is why we do rankings. I mean, if you look at the Chiefs, the only people who have the Chiefs in the top 10 are the people. In other words, the ESPN panel of people who are just going off their fifis. All the data points say no. Well, not at least not for the first week. But in a way, you think about this column right here. This is the ESPN panel. Sometimes it's good to have in a model the Fifi column. I call this the Fifi column. This is how you feel about the team, because sometimes the way you feel is right. Like the Chiefs are probably much better than the data is telling you. They probably just had a bad game. off the jump. And so it's probably good to go off of Fifis sometimes, right, to balance it out. Because if it wasn't for the Fifis, the Chiefs would be 25th, 26th, 20, somewhere like that, even worse. And they're not that bad. I mean, they might fall off a little, but I don't know. It's just also hard to believe they're going to fall off that much with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and everybody else. But we'll have to see. But the Fifis column can correct some of the data ones, because if you just have a bad game and the data tells you it was a bad game, doesn't mean you're a bad team. So you kind of need a Fifi column. So we got a Fifi column in here. So that's interesting to look at. And that's also hurting the Jets, by the way, because the data tells you we had a really good game. But the Fifis tell you, man, we don't believe in the Jets because they don't believe in Justin yet. He's got to do what he did week 1. Do it 10 times in a row, Justin, and then see who believes, right? But it's kind of a good, it's kind of a good check because, yeah, the data was nice. It was a good game, but, people are probably rightly skeptical that Justin can do that 10 in a row, let alone have 15 out of 17 games like that or something like that. You got to do it time after time before people believe. And plus, there's something called bias, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a big thing in the NFL. This is something we should have a whole video about probably, because confirmation bias, it screws up a lot of things, including player evaluation, including roster construction. People in the NFL and around the NFL and around football in general have a real problem with confirmation bias, meaning once they form an opinion of someone, they very rarely will go and re-underwrite that opinion based on new information that comes in. And why is that? Well, I think it's because most people in football are dum-dums, but beside that, they don't want to get fired. If they're constantly going, like, this guy's great, Tony Adams should be a starter on the Jets. A lot of people said that. Glenn, Wilkes, Chris Harris, Dre Bly, all the people involved in who should be our starting, safeties, etc. They all vouched for Tony Adams, for example. Should Tony Adams be the starter? Probably not. But are all those people going to admit that they were wrong? And if they admit they're wrong, then maybe the decision makers upstairs start going, these people are admitting that they were wrong. Shouldn't we get rid of them? Shouldn't we get people who know what they're talking about? And so it becomes very tricky. And then you start really propping up a player because you said they were going to be good, Mr. Harris. You said they were going to be good, Mr. Wilkes. You said they were going to be good, Mr. Glenn. And then if they're not, that's where the excuses come in, especially with quarterbacks. You see this with quarterbacks all the time. Once somebody says this guy's going to be good, they never re-underwrite their opinion because they're afraid people are going to say, well, wait a minute, you said he was going to be good. Now you're saying he's going to be bad? And you could, I would easily justify it by saying, yeah, because I got new information. He played 10 more games and he stunk. So based on the 10 new games he played, I am re-underwriting my opinion of this player. But people don't do that. Number one, they're afraid to be fired or embarrassed. And number two, they're just not that smart. So it's a combination of the two things. So we have a big problem with that. And in this case, Justin, people aren't going to re-underwrite their opinion of Justin Fields based on one good game. No, they're not going to do that. And probably rightly so. But will they do it after 3, after 5, after 7, after 10, after a season? Well, we'll find out. It's a very interesting season for a lot of reasons. And that's just one of them. So this is one of the things we're going to be tracking. Coming up on this channel also will be a specific video about Justin Fields and really looking at the all-22 footage. How many elite throws did he make? How many great? How many average? How many below average, etc. I'm going to start to take a look at that and then grade him out. So look forward to that on this channel as well. We don't just do data analytics. We do film study. We do studies of the news, media, the beat. We take a look at the business, finance. We take a look at everything around the NFL and the Jets in particular. And if you're into that sort of thing, why not subscribe to the channel? Give this video a thumbs up and or think about joining the Inner Circle, it's called, just by clicking the little join button down there. It costs you a few shekels per month, but I think it's well worth it with everything you get. And with that being said, I will see you next time.